So Bose just launched the second generation QuietComfort Ultra Earbuds, essentially a sequel to already one of the best pairs of earbuds on the market today. And with this second generation, they're promising better microphones, better ANC, some improvements to the sound quality, and some improvements to the design, despite otherwise looking essentially identical. Like, you kind of have to play a game of spot the difference here. So just looking at these, you probably can't tell that this one is the second generation and this one is the first generation. Now, I'll get into a microphone test and ANC test in a minute, but let's take a closer look at this design. On the surface, they almost look identical. The only difference is really going to be that the new one has wireless charging, which if you look at my previous review of the original QuietComfort Ultra earbuds, the first generation, and you look at all the negatives I listed about it, they're great earbuds. I absolutely loved them. They're some of the best on the market, but one of the biggest drawbacks is that for the price, they didn't have wireless charging. Now, as you can see right here, these do have wireless charging. The coil seems to be like really low, kind of around the button almost. And so if I line this up very high up, you can see where the coil is on this wireless charging pad. So it's spun right there, but you see the orange light, the little amber light up there. So these do have wireless charging, but it is very low on that. Opening it up, you'll see the earbuds are nearly identical as well, which is no surprise. There are two main differences with these. One is going to be the aesthetic. So you can see the newer one is slightly different in terms of color. So they have three colors now. We have black, we have white smoke, and we have a deep plum. Now the deep plum is like kind of the new Bose color they've been using on speakers and headphones. I absolutely love it. It's not available yet, so these are the black ones. And you can see it's definitely a lot more muted, a lot more subtle, so when you're wearing them, it's not like a giant shiny earring hanging off of your ear. On the inside, I don't want to zoom in too close to this because, I mean, earbuds are not really that great to look at, but this one's brand new and very clean, so I can show you the ear tip now looks a little bit different. I'll have to get some close-up B-roll here, but it has kind of a little grill on the inside of the ear tip, whereas the old one did not, which means that it's going to prevent earwax from getting deeper in there. So one, that's more hygienic, and two, that prevents it from impacting the sound quality. The old ones, even if you clean them frequently, if any kind of dust or earwax or anything got packed in there, essentially that could impact the sound quality and the active noise cancellation, being that that's where the driver is located. The only other thing that I noticed with these earbuds, and I know this should not be the case, but for some reason, the newer ones, when I wear them, they don't fall out of my ears as much as the old ones did. And I have no idea why that is. I don't know if that little grill on there just happens to be the perfect fit for me personally, but if you remember my original review of the first generation, the left earbud always fell out of my ear. It always just worked its way out of my ear, no matter what. It was impossible to keep it in, and that was a big drawback for me. So kind of a big positive that, at least for me, they seem to stay in a little bit better now. So now let's get into a microphone test. These are the microphones on the Bose QuietComfort Ultra 2nd Gen earbuds, and I will compare them to the first generation in a second. This is obviously an indoor environment. And of course, these are the microphones on the original Bose QuietComfort Ultra earbuds. Now, I'm noticing one thing right now unrelated to the microphones. I'm going to talk about that in a second. It is like a buzzing in the left ear, but otherwise, the microphone quality, leave a comment and let me know how this compares. This is a microphone test with the Bose QuietComfort Ultra original earbuds, the first generation. Obviously, a busy road behind me, and it's also pretty breezy out here. And now a microphone test with the Bose QuietComfort Ultra 2nd generation earbuds with even more noise behind me. But one thing I noticed is that there is definitely more compression, more focus on the voice. But I think it actually makes it sound a lot clearer. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I'll give you a reference now of just the phone with no earbuds. All right, so you can see traffic behind me, definitely tough to hear me. I don't know if the wind is gonna be picked up on my phone, but yeah, there's a lot of noise out here. Now, it is worth noting that there will be an update coming to the first generation, but right now, if I go into the app and I go to product update, there is no update available. This is the version that I'm running, and I believe the new call quality, the improvement in call quality will be rolling out to the first generation eventually, so maybe that's not a reason to upgrade to the new ones, and it is kind of nice that Bose is rolling that out to the older ones. So far, all the improvements are very, very positive in my opinion, and Bose does seem to be rolling out as much as they can to the first generation. Next up, we have changes to the active noise cancellation. Now, the ANC on these earbuds is actually really similar in strength to the first gen. So first and second gen, both absolutely industry leading, pretty much undetectable in the difference in strength. They're both doing a fantastic job of blocking out the droning low frequencies, so like a jet sound or something like that. However, there are pretty significant differences in the low end. Well, on the second generation, Bose had some updates to their algorithm on the inside. So essentially, it is going to detect the ambient sound and kind of adjust the ANC ANC for you. So if you're in a really quiet environment, it won't have the gain cranked all the way up and give you that buzzing sound or the microphone gain issues that you had before that we saw on the first generation. That's what they claim. They were trying to remove the floor noise. I always noticed it as like an artifact or a buzzing in the left ear. And again, it was probably my biggest complaint next to wireless charging in the first generation QuietComfort Ultra earbuds. And in the second gen, I have to say, it definitely is significantly improved. It's not totally gone. If you're listening for it, you can detect a little bit of white noise or some really subtle buzzing in the left ear, but it is nowhere near as bad as it was in the first generation. And that, I think, is a huge improvement. Hopefully it's something that Bose can roll out as an update to the first generation as well. I think for such a premium and expensive pair of earbuds, it would make sense to roll out an update to fix one of the biggest issues with that model. But otherwise, I mean, we have the same drivers on the inside, all really the same components, so it's not going to be different in terms of ANC other than just sounding cleaner and a little bit more natural. And they have some other tweaks in their algorithm as well to hopefully sound better with voices. From my testing, it really sounded quite similar for voices or sudden noises, but the transparency does have what they call active sense now, which is a subtle but nice improvement. So if you're walking around outside, you have transparency mode on so you can hear, traffic and important things, but then maybe somebody, blows their horn or somebody drops an anvil on the sidewalk next to you or whatever happens, it's not going to reproduce that inside your ears and damage your ears. Instead, it's going to kind of duck around that and continue on with the transparency without amplifying the sound. This is kind of similar to what we saw with AirPods, where there's sort of a decibel limiter where it's not going to replicate loud noises. And I've actually seen people use AirPods in like bartenders, for example, so that they can hear their surroundings without actually damaging their ears. It's kind of a really cool use case. And I think this new version, this new active sense on the Bose, the second gen here, might actually be able to do the same thing. Taking a look at the app, we've got, of course, our modes here, and Bose kind of lets you customize your own if you want to make like a running mode or something like that. Each one doesn't really give you a lot that you can do. You can really just change if it's spatial audio on or off, ANC level, and that's really, for the most part, what you'll be doing. We have immersive audio here, which is going to essentially be, like I said, spatial audio. Not really any changes there. The shortcuts, you can actually enable or disable these, so that's something that is new and, again, is rolling out to the first generation soon, so you'll be able to disable that. Of course, depending on where you are, you may already have that update. If not, it's coming out probably the day I launch this video. And you can choose what the shortcut does. So they have some features. Spotify Tap is a new one that has been added and again is rolling out to the first gen as well. So kind of nice that that's not really much of a difference there either. For source, we can manually select them. And if you guys haven't seen any updates since my original review of these, originally they did not have true multi-point connectivity. They came out with an update and they do have that on the first and of course the second gen here. So you can connect to your phone and your laptop and seamlessly switch, or you could manually switch using these toggles down here. The EQ is the same, and otherwise pretty much everything else is the same in the software here. These again have the same battery life, 6 hours in the earbuds, 24 hours when you include the case. And because you can't turn the active noise cancellation or transparency off, like that engine is always running on these earbuds, the battery life really won't be changing much, and it's pretty consistently 6 hours and 24 hours including the case. As far as the sound quality goes, there's not a whole lot to get into there. You can tell the tuning is slightly different, but still they sound like good Bose earbuds. Really nice and full, good bass, very well rounded. And these, I mean, having the same driver, it's no surprise that are almost identical in sound to the first generation. The only real difference left that I haven't mentioned is the price. So Bose is keeping the same MSRP on the newer ones, which is going to be $299, but the older ones, the first generation, are currently $229. So that kind of leaves a really good opportunity, in my opinion, to buy the first generation now. It is my understanding that Bose is going to discontinue the first gen and just start selling the second gen. Now, you're probably thinking, why would Bose call this a second generation? This is like an iterative update. It's mostly a software update with a couple physical changes. Like you added wireless charging, you added a little screen on the ear tip, and you added a new colorway. Not really a huge change there, but if you think about it in another way, you look at the original Bose QuietComfort Ultra earbuds, what were my complaints about them? The buzzing noise, it is now fixed. Wireless charging, now fixed. Dust and earwax getting stuck or kind of like on the little driver surface there, also fixed now. The only thing that they didn't fix was the bulky size of the case. But all things considered, if you're going to make those fixes, it would be kind of confusing if they didn't have a different name for it. And I don't really like how other companies are calling it like the Galaxy Watch Ultra for 2025. Like, it's annoying to say. So I can't really blame Bose for calling these a second gen, but it is a little disappointing that it's not more different. That said, they're still among the best earbuds on the market, so they don't really have to be that different. They're already in the front of the pack, and this just improves them enough that I think these are great. So should you upgrade to Gen 2 if you have Gen 1? Absolutely not. Should you even buy Gen 2 now? Honestly, I would save $70 and buy the first gen now, as long as you don't need that wireless charging. But eventually they will only have the second gen available, and I have to say, these are pretty awesome earbuds. So thanks for watching. I'm Mike O'Brien, and I'll see you in the next video.